Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me again. My name is Wilky and we are here with a hard silo run on our hard server. And the main difference here is that we now have super anomalies. We did have them before in the server, but hard mode and presumably also pro mode are going to be having these more often. Now, I assume most of you guys know what these anomalies are by now. Essentially, it requires you to have a specific gun type or cradle alongside with a specific weapon, and I'll go over that in just a second. So if you go to your season info, so this depends on the server you're on, but if you go to season tag here, you can see that on my server we have void and region. This was called balance, so they're probably just patching some names here. And essentially, to counter void, you need the cradle override anti-void or unstable bomber or power surge. So if you're using the jaws, for example, or any gun that has power surge. Same for the HP region. If you use a specific gun with the cradle, I'm going to show you the cradles in just a second, or burn damage or frost vortex damage. Now for the cradles, these are here, and you have two types, or rather two options for two guns. So if I want to counter void, I either need to use a shotgun or a rifle, and if I want to counter the region or the balance, what it was called, it's sniper rifle and pistol. This is also the main reason why I'm still running Memento and Doombringer, because now I can either switch to the cradle here. I actually have this one equipped, and I don't know how many, this is my first run, so I really have no idea how many times or how many enemies I'm going to be encountering. We're just going to remove that, and we're going to put the anti-region pistol. So this is essentially, I'm not sure if this one's working, but since we're not fighting great ones, I think this is a fairly decent loadout. And yeah, we're just gonna run in. And that's it. I don't think that the silo is anything in particular difficult or new, but we're gonna be seeing, or I'm gonna be curious how many of these super anomalies I'm actually gonna be encountering. So yeah, so far, okay, they're not hitting the heads there. Ah, there's one. Holy, they're still tanky as they used to be. Obviously my build, and once you break the shield, you can actually switch to your gun. So it's not like you need to have a super powered gun in each slot. Obviously this helps, right? So that goes without saying. We have a couple mobs here. There should be two coming down here, I think. Guess not. So let's quickly loot this place here. Oh my god. They should really allow us to like adjust our settings here. We have an elite coming up here, which is a normal elite though, so there's nothing special about this one. One more guy here. Okay, so far it seems to be fairly similar to what we encountered in the open world. There are a few places where these super anomalies can spawn, most notably some high tier poise or places where there's a lot of chests. I think probably the most frequent one, at least I have encountered 3 different ones in Blackfall. So there seems to be multiple spawns. Early on in the game, there was just a few crates that I encountered, and the dreaded sniper, which I think probably everybody has encountered and a lot of people fell prey to, which definitely was a not so pleasant experience. Needless to say though, you could argue that you don't necessarily need a specific loadout for as long as you tick any of the 3 options, right? So for me, as I said, it's either use unstable bomber, power surge, or the anti-void, which was shotgun or rifle, so you have 4 options there. Or you have the anti-balance, which was sniper or pistol for base guns, or fire/burn, or frost. Now, people have told me that you can also use molotovs, for example, against burn enemies. And since there's quite literally only one enemy that I encountered so far... Oh, there's another one. Good. So... Actually, no. That was not fire. That was unstable bomber and power surge, so we don't have an opportunity to do anything there. I mean, there are things like vortex generators, and I technically do have power surge on my stun baton, but the damage is probably not good enough, because these guys are quite tanky, actually. So... yeah. Needless to say, I don't really think this is extraordinarily difficult. It just puts a little bit of stress, or what I like to call nuisance, and I know some people will get offended when I say that. I don't think that the added super anomalies are particularly difficult. They're just a nuisance, really. And what I mean by that is that other than the 2 enemies that we just fought, I can just switch out the cradle and be fine. And then whenever I encounter an enemy, I pop in a cradle again and be done with it. Likewise, if I were to use, let's say, unstable bomber like the Jaws, and maybe like a frost or a burn build to accompany it, I wouldn't need any cradle. Or if I would at least use one of these guns, then it's only 1 cradle that I need to replace. So I'm not particularly happy with the system. On the same page, I'm happy that it's not a very common encounter, so it doesn't bother me too much. I don't really think it's great game design, honestly, from like a joy experience, because they're still just bullet sponges. They do hit harder, at least the ones in the open world can be quite tedious, but as of now, they don't really prove a challenge, other than I would have to either switch my cradle, or if I don't want to switch my cradle, I just leave them be, right? There's no reason for me. I don't need to kill them. I only need to kill the elite to get the access card, and that's it. So, yeah. I'm a little bit... How should I say this? I get the idea that they want to have, like, harder challenge and stuff, but the way these anomalies work isn't really providing a challenge per se, at least not in my opinion. Yes, they make the game more difficult, but the artificial difficulty increase by requiring you to use a specific gun isn't very fun to play. And obviously, your mileage may vary. If you use unstable bomber or something, you don't care. Likewise, I don't care that much that I need to switch cradles, but I think it could be solved in a better way, personally at least. But as I said, this is more of a personal choice, rather. Like, objectively speaking, it's more difficult, yes. But also, objectively speaking, the difficulty lies in either using the right gun, which is a bummer, because builds are limited, unfortunately. I don't want to get these guys blown up in my face. Because I personally don't like artificial difficulty. It's the same as ramping up HP pools. I don't think it adds that much, unless genuinely the mobs are too weak. But for me personally, I don't think it adds any meaningful value to the gameplay. So we're gonna get the claw machine. Gonna get this guy pop up in my face. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna summon our lovely doggo, because this guy will take a while to kill. I don't have any calibrations, by the way, in case you're wondering. My damage is pretty baseline. All I have are level 2 blueprints for both my memento and my doom bringer. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, as I said, it doesn't feel all that much different, if you ask me. All we really did was switch out 2 cradles, and instead I could either use that one or this one, for example. In terms of damage, I'm not really losing anything, because I have my weak spot damage increase while in fast gunner. I could be using that one technically instead of one of the others, because I am using the Doombringer, so there's that. And yeah, we're not going to be using controllers because it's hard mode. I don't think there's anything worthwhile in here, so we're just going to blaze through for the final boss fight. So yeah, as I mentioned, probably for the sake of not switching cradles the entire time, I'd probably just switch out 2 cradles and be done with it until I'm no longer farming cradles for dungeons. And that's it. Hard mode already does have the Gatling. Oh, yeah, he does. Okay, where's the Gatling? There's the Gatling. So you can see in terms of boss fight, there's not really any difference. There's nothing in there. Blink. think. That was not a headshot. Wow. Okay, yep. So, as I mentioned, I'm gonna clean up the dungeon, or the silo, because just let me open that one. There's a couple loots here, by the way, in case you're wondering. There are a couple crates hidden behind here, so if you run this the first time, I highly recommend just going over to these crates here. So yeah, like I said, my verdict is still unchanged. On a personal note, I don't think that these cradles are particularly difficult or not really adding any substantial value to the game. It's not the end of the world, despite what some people think. When people like myself complain about mechanics, there's always a couple white knights, but like, just get good or adjust your build. Which is exactly what we're doing. We're adjusting the builds because we have to. That doesn't mean it's a fun mechanic or particularly interesting. At least in my opinion, I don't think it is. But hey, as I mentioned, this is a personal note. And yeah, that was it. Silo on hard mode. Presumably, pro mode is probably going to be the same. Maybe there's 2 more added super anomalies. Maybe 4, maybe 8. It probably depends on the silos. I'm not sure if I'm going to be repeating the silo run series as I did on the novice server. I might just do that. Once we have pro mode, I'm going to record an entire swoop of each silo and each monolith. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you guys next time.